Evening everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So tonight I thought I'd take you through all the modifications that I've made to this guitar, which is my Fender Player Stratocaster, made in Mexico, 2021 I think. I've been on a bit of a journey with this guitar, so I just wanted to sort of summarise what I've done to it. I've got other videos on the channel sort of detailing different stages I went through. So in this video, like I say, I'm just going to summarize what I've done, because I'm at a stage now where I think now it's perfect and I'm not actually going to be making any more modifications to it. So anyway, let's start at the bridge. Okay, the tremolo arm is the obvious thing. This was a common issue with Strats. You know, it's either too loose, in which case there's too much give in it, you know, so it's not really, doesn't really feel that much attached to the unit, or it's on too tight and it's too stiff and you can't do anything with it. So yeah, I mean, there's a number of solutions to that. You know, putting tape around the threads of this, but what worked for me was these springs. You can get a packet of them for about £8 on Amazon, for a pack of about 12, and you basically drop the spring into the hole, tighten the tremolo arm on top of that, and it just maintains a really nice tension on it. So you know, the trem works as you'd hoped it would work. So that's the first thing. And you know, that was a good mod. It was definitely worth doing. It definitely, you know, it fixed an issue. Next thing, not really a mod, bit of a fix really, small thing, was the selector switch. So basically it came up, it kept coming off after a while. The fix for that was, don't know if I put it in the toolbox. So the fix for that is, you see these clippers that you use to clip off your guitar strings. What you do is basically you get that around the sort of the metal part of the selector switch, and you give it a damn good squeeze, and that just creates a little ridge on the selector. And then when you push down, when you push the plastic knob over it, it holds it in place perfectly, and you actually can't get it off. So just a small thing, but you know, I know a lot of people have problems with that, but that's fixed. That won't come off now, so that's good. Definitely something worth doing. The main thing for me was these saddles. So it comes fitted with these bent steel saddles. Now I've done a video all about this, crying about how bad these bent steel saddles are. So what I did was, I got some of these block steel saddles. They are many. There's many advantages of these. You know, these have got sort of like more. They've got more travel in the height adjustment screws. You know, which means you can bring them up higher, and you've just got more room for adjustment. So previously I had my tremolo decked, and these bent steel saddles, just I couldn't get them high enough when I in that sort of configuration. So I swapped to blocks. But as I found out, you know, there's a few sort of disadvantages to these blocks. What I don't like about them is they're bigger than the bent steel, and there's sort of a lot more surface area in that groove for the string to grab on and, you know, get caught up on and cause you tuning issues. And also the fact that it's got a groove, you know, it could sort of make the string go off in a direction that it doesn't naturally want to go, which could cause tuning issues too. So with the bent steel, there is no groove. The string just rests where it needs to. So there's less resistance because you haven't got the groove. You know, these are smaller, and there's actually less contact with the string. So you know, a Strat is designed to have a floating setup. So with a floating setup, I think the bent steel saddles do work better. If there isn't enough travel in them to get the action high enough, you can always just raise these. You know, I've always thought that there was an issue with this guitar with the neck angle, but I just didn't want to mess about with shims and things like that. I've arrived at a nice compromise where I get to use the original saddles. You know, I get to have them high enough and it's not causing us any tuning issues. So that was a big thing. You know, if, like I say, if you want to deck a Strat, that's not traditionally, you know, the configuration of a Stratocaster, but some people just prefer that because, you know, they might, if, you know, if a string goes out of tune, they all go out, so they might just want to avoid that. Plus it's easier for tuning, it's easier for drop D, and apparently you get more sustain and all that. So yeah, you know, be my guest, go for the bent steel. These were only £10, but for me, I've reverted back to go for the, sorry, these are blocks. I've reverted back to the bent steel because it's traditional. It's traditional. I just think I think that they possibly cause less tuning issues at the end of the day in this floating setup. Anyway, that's enough of that. So next, what did I do? Let's have a think here. Now I'm just going to move this over here, over to the headstock. Yeah, so so here's the thing. I mean, you know, once you've sorted out all the issues at the bridge and the saddle end, you know, this is the thing that's gonna, you know, that's the bottleneck for any tuning issues on a guitar, really, the nut. But before I get to that, just a quick fix that I did do. The string tree. So previously it did have one of these butterfly style trees, and what I did find was the springs did catch on them. You know, even just under bending, I could just hear funny little clicks and funny little noises coming from it. And I know that, you know, that can be fixed with graphite or whatever, or, you know, Vaseline underneath the contact points. But getting one of these sort of, you know, the USA style, the old USA style string trees, there's less of a contact point, and they just work better. It doesn't need to be lubricated. It doesn't need the roller. It doesn't catch. So these function a lot better, I think, and that is just that is a mod that I am keeping. Right. So last but not least, the nut. Actually, no, not last but not least, because I have had a bit of a journey with the tuners as well. I did experiment with locking tuners. I hated them. I hated the locking tuners. I got the Fender brand locking tuners that just dropped in. You know, no modifications needed. I got it all set up. But what I found out was having that mechanism, you know, where you have like the thumb wheel to tighten them. What that meant was once the string's being tightened and the thumb wheel's being locked in, what I didn't like was, you know, if that thumb wheel ever got knocked, you know, the string just goes straight out, and it's very difficult to get that string back in again. You know, and you know that doesn't happen if you've got, you know, the traditional machine heads. If you knock it, it goes out of tune, you tune it back up again, no problem. But I just thought they were just a little bit over-engineered. Plus, you know, locking the string in place, I'm not sure if it really cured the tuning issues. I think what's really cured the tuning issues on this guitar has been the nut. So yeah, I reverted back to non-locking tuners just because I just think they're just easier to live with. You know, you've got to gauge how much you tighten the string in there, and you've got to worry about the extra. You've got an extra thing to worry about in the thumb wheel and everything. Didn't like them at all. So yeah. So last but not least, then, you know, the nut that comes with these Player Strats are abysmal. So I've just got the old nut here for you. I'll try and get you zoomed in on that. I don't know if you can make that out, but that is a dog's dinner. You know, that has been cut so badly, and it's caused me tuning issues since day one. So, I did go down the route of, going to a guitar tech and, getting the grooves sort of filed a bit. It did alleviate the problem a little bit, but always in the back of my mind I was thinking, I just want to get one of those new, Graphtec nuts, which are, pre-lubricated. I had to just keep on putting, pencil graphite into that to try and make it slippy. But this nut here is it's made of PTFE. It's sort of impregnated with PTFE, which is one of the slippiest substances known to man, apparently, according to their marketing blurb. And yeah, this is the best mod that I've made. So a nut will cost you about £10 on Amazon. And get the right one, by the way, as well. This is the I think it's the PT 5000-00, which is the closest fit you're going to get for a Fender Player Stratocaster made in Mexico. All these measurements are different. You've got to be careful. Even the difference between like a USA made and a Mexican made and a Chinese made Strat, all different. So just be careful. But for this, PT 5000-00. So anyway, getting the actual nut out was a bit of a pain, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't just a simple case of scoring around the outside with a knife and then, banging it out. It just wouldn't bang out. So I kind of got lucky. On one of the edges, there was a bit of a tiny gap, which I managed to sort of wedge a small screwdriver into, and I had to just gradually just lever it out. It came out. The nut, it looked exactly the right size, but you're talking about millimeters out. So what it was basically a bit of sandpaper, flat on the table, sand off this way to get the width. Once I got it in, it was a case of bringing it down. So what you do is you fret on the third fret, and you want hardly any space over that first fret. So to achieve that, what I needed to do was just put a bit of sandpaper over the fret, so I've got that radius, and just keep on sanding it, sanding the bottom of the nut over that fret, bit by bit, gradual, just keep remeasuring until I got it absolutely perfect. And it is absolutely perfect now. And it solved all of the tuning issues on this guitar. I'm back to the bent steel saddles. They weren't the problem. The problem was the nut. It was catching on the old string tree as well. But anyway, yeah. So now I've got this on. It's not even glued in yet. I will glue it in eventually, but first of all, I just need to file off the ends, which are still sticking out a little bit. But it's still it's still playable. But I'll get around to that. So yeah, I think that's about it. What I would say is, if you're gonna buy a new guitar, I think one of the first things that you need to check is the state of the nut. That is crucial, and it's not easy to remove a nut cleanly. You might get lucky, but if you don't get lucky, that's a whole world of pain that you're going to be in. So my advice to you is go to a guitar shop, check out the nut. I've got an Epiphone inspired by Gibson Les Paul Jr. and the nut on that is perfect. That it comes pre-installed with a Graphtec nut, and I've checked the height, and it is perfect. So Epiphone are knocking it out of the park, but Fender with these, major weak point on this guitar. It's there now, but it's took us around about 2 years of messing about with this guitar to get it to where I want it to be. So yeah, and I'm happy with it now. So I don't think I'll be doing any more mods, and I think this is the very last modification I'll be making to this Stratocaster. So that's it. Drop us a comment. Let me know what the journey that you've had with your Strats. The Strats are very fiddly. They're very finicky. They've got a lot of moving parts. They're a lot of hard work, but I still think that they're very much worth it. I think, you know, definitely my favourite guitar. I love this guitar. I've always loved Strats. So yeah, let us know your experience of Stratocasters. You know, please do check out the other videos that I've got on the channel where I get into detail about, you know, the block versus the bent steel saddles and everything to do with Stratocasters. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Forget to click on the subscribe, click on the bell. Hopefully see you on the next one. Bye everyone. Bye.